The moment Seshi Setsume stepped into the deeper layers of Nazarick's territory, the silence that blanketed the place shattered. From the very walls of shadow and the ground beneath her feet, countless guardians stirred, stretching, yawning, and blinking as if waking from a dreamless sleep. But it wasn't an army, not a battalion, not even a squad. It was one. One so formidable, it made the hairs on Zishi's arms stand on end. Emerging from the inky darkness, she saw her. Cositas, the frozen death general, stepped into her path, dragging an axe that hissed with frost and carried the weight of countless frozen souls. The strike team froze, their breaths misting in the sudden cold. Even from afar, they could feel it, the crushing weight of something not meant for mortals. But she laughed, a sound that echoed strangely in the silent tomb. You're the gatekeeper. How cute. Then let's see if the door can bleed. With that, she charged, a blur of motion that belied her normally graceful form. Her blade, a silver arc against the encroaching darkness, struck out fast, precise, deadly. It connected with the Death Knight's chest, sending sparks flying. Cositas didn't move. She merely raised her weapon and struck back. Each swing was a whisper of death, each parry a promise of eternal winter. It wasn't a duel, it was survival. And Zeishi, relying on her unnatural reflexes and chaotic power, danced on the edge of oblivion. Yet she fought with the fury of a cornered wildcat, parrying, thrusting, lunging, forcing Cositas on the defensive. The strike team behind her couldn't help but watch in awe and fear. They unleashed their spells and sacred blades, hoping to catch Cositas off guard, but it was almost as if the very tomb itself was alive. Walls rose from the ground, barring their path. The terrain shifted, narrowing their passage, and suddenly, colossal beasts with eyes like burning stars began falling from the sky. Far above, high in the skeletal fingers of the clock tower, Ains observed it all through magical scrying. His gaze as sharp and cold as the winter wind, missed nothing. A faint smile touched his lips. Let's see how far she gets, he whispered to himself, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness. Beside him, Albedo watched, her expression unreadable. Her fingers tightened into fists. She has guts, I'll give her that, she said at last, her voice as cold and hard as polished marble. But how interesting. Would she make a fine corpse to add to my collection? Meanwhile, Zeishi fought not just against the formidable Cositas, but against the shifting landscape and the suddenly hostile environment. She pressed on, deeper into the heart of night. The attacks grew more desperate, more intense. The summoned beasts fell around her, but more kept coming, endless as the night. Above, Ains continued to watch, his amusement growing. This was a rare live test, a chance to observe the strength of someone from the outside. A warrior who had managed to breach the defenses of nature. It was almost as if this tomb was set to test him, to hone his precious guardians. As for Zeishi, she felt the weariness seep into her bones. Every step was a gamble, every breath a risk. The question wasn't how long could she survive in Nazarick, but how long could she keep fighting? Because up until this point, Cositas hadn't even begun to fight seriously. That realization struck Zeishi like a bucket of ice water, making her movements falter. She was holding on, but by what thread? Her own strength, her pride, or the hope of getting out of this tomb alive? News of the assault spread like wildfire across the nearby nations. Merchants stopped their gossip, spies lowered their voices, and nobles exchanged uneasy glances. Someone had dared to attack the Sorcerer King. No one knew who, no one knew why, but the world held its breath, waiting for news from the front. For within Nazarick the battle was reaching its climax. Will Zeishi be able to withstand the might of Nazarick? Will Cositas show mercy? Or will she add another soul to her collection? And how will Ains react to this unexpected intrusion? Find out next time.